Howdy folks, welcome back to Shallow Pocket Seekers. Today we're going to be doing a little different type of video. We're going to come in from Three Springs on Route 747 going up to Butler Knob and check out the fire tower and things there on Butler Knob, along with, I think there is a lookout or two there. And then later on I'm going to end up doing a hike out through, but I'm wanting to show me coming in from south on 747, from the south on 747, making a left turn up here on the White Road, and then you got to turn on the Jack's Tower Road, which a lot of the videos on YouTube have been done prior to last year, where Jack's Tower Road, it got fixed up last year. It used to be a terrible road to drive in on, and I want to show that to the few people that do find this video that are interested in going up to, because they got a shelter up there you can spend the night in the parking area, and they redid the road up to that parking area, if I'm not mistaken. Well, we're coming down Hill Valley Road, which is Route 747 from the south. If you come in from Mountain Union, so we're coming from Three Springs. If you come in from Mountain Union, it would be the opposite direction. And possibly if you're coming from Orbizonia up through, you might come up this road here to the right. We're making a left here onto White Road. Make a right here on the Jack's Tower Road, and it's only a quarter of a mile or less. And this used to be where the road was all tore out from here up through here. But they did fix up the road last year, and it's still in 100% better shape, even though there is one pothole up here coming back out, where this was all washed out up through here in the past. So anybody wanting to make a return trip up here or bring somebody back up during the time period now to do it, where the road's at least in decent shape. Then right here we do have a pothole coming back in it, but there was 4 or 5 in there, and it's in much better shape. And then right here was another trouble spot where Laurel Mountain Road cuts off to the left. There was a big dip right here in the past, which has been fixed up. And then this is the hollow up through along the little stream over here on the side that everybody says about being cool in the summertime, which it is. They have fixed up the road here, but it's not any wider. So if you end up passing somebody on this section, there's only a handful of spots for vehicles to pass, which one right here on the right has always been there, but you got from the road back yonder to up here before you really have a spot to get over for somebody else if you need to pass somebody. And you always take a chance on, if you're driving up this road, of a tree being down across the road, because it's a game lands road, and there are a few private areas up above it that people do have some camps and summer places at, but it's not regularly maintained. It's not daily maintained anyhow. And I have the last 13 years, I think, now that we've owned the property up Laurel Mountain Road, I've run into a few people coming up our road at times looking for the trailhead up here. They made a lot, or some of them I think even rode up this road, then rode back down and went up our road looking for it. But I have guided a few people up here because there is a shelter for you to spend overnight in if you want to, which I think the last guy I talked to come up and spent the night before and hiked in the morning. I think I run into him in the dark coming down off of our road. And yeah, somebody used to running in a city all their life will still think this road's terrible, but it's not near as bad as it used to be. There used to be a working stone quarry up in here at one time that I think did supply Mountain Union, some of the brick factories in there with their stone, which always been shut down since that time period. The only thing I can say about it, since they did build this road up, you don't want to get off to the side of it anywhere anymore. There's quite the drop off on each side. And then through here, they've put in several culverts and built the road way higher than you. So if you have to pass somebody, you've got quite the drop off on each side. But we just passed the vehicle and they were able to get across the road. Thankfully, it was another truck. And this was all tore up in the past with water breaks everywhere. Yeah, the trail up here is part of the Standing Stone Trail, which later on, the road off to the left here, and yeah, it is part of the Standing Stone Trail. Hooper's Gap's out that way. I will do a hike through Hooper's Gap here sometime this year. And then the marks over there to the right there on the tree showing the Standing Stone Trail running along with the road through here. As you can see, with the brush and sticks along the sides of the road and laying on the road in spots, this road's not regularly maintained. And I don't know how long it's been, probably in close to 50, at least 30 years that I can remember. This is the first time that this road's actually been built up this good. So it may be another 30 years before they redo things. And hopefully the road holds up for a while now. Because I've been coming up in here probably before I was a teenager with my dad, hunting up here, and to the fire tower, which we'll show here after a bit. And this road to the left is a parking area at the Butler Fields up here. What used to be the Butler Farm. And what Butler Knob got its name for was the Butler Farm, which is now state game lands. The trail comes up the road here. And if you are hiking through here, there is a pond right straight out through there, not very far, that has some native trout and goldfish in it. Just something to stop and take a break. And there is a stream above, I think, and below that, where you possibly could get water and take it out of the pond if nothing else, because there is a water source labeled up the road here, but I wouldn't guarantee water will be in it if you're up here hiking in the middle of the summer. Can you get this over here? The water sign for the water source. There's a sign for the water source here along the road. And there is a stream over there. But like I said, it's spring fed and it might be dry at the time you come up. And somewhere here there's a trail. You can see the shoulder off the road here. And then right here to the right is the parking area. Because we transition here. We're on game lands right now. We transition to state forest, and the shelter's pretty much over here to the left and on state forest ground. I'm trying to see where the trail is to it, but I'm not. Oh, right up here, right here on the trees. And the trail goes down through. Or it comes up through there. I ain't 100% sure. I know it runs with the road back there for a while. And there is a shelter to the left over here once I see it again. It can be seen from this road, but the whole road was worse in spots than what it is up through here. So, right there is a mark, but there's a shelter over here in the woods. Can you see that?
I don't see that one.
It's right over there.
Still don't see it.
And I'll try to show it better coming back, but you can see it whether the camera's actually picking it up or not. Back on the road. We'll take time and we'll get out, film it coming back down. And I do think these are old marks where the trail used to follow the road. I think there is a trail up to the right through the woods up to Butler Knob too. And I want to show here that you can, if you want, drive on up here to Butler Knob. which some of this is state forest, some of it's private land up through here, but it's all, there is a road up to the knob because there's cell towers and other towers and the old fire towers up there. But if you're going to drive up through here, you'd rather be in a pickup than a car. Because I watched one video from 4 or 5 years ago last night where they brought a Chevy Cobalt or something like that up in here. And this trail, you can access it from this way, which is from Hill Valley side, or from the Mapleton side. Because somebody come up in here and was saying about this being Mapleton. No, we're not at Mapleton. Or this is not. It is accessible by trail from Mapleton, but you got to walk. You can't just drive from Mapleton up here to Butler Knob, which is the way that video sounded to me. Easiest and less amount of miles to foot, hike on foot, to get to the throne room, Butler's Knob, the Mountain King's hallway, and there's something else for the other lookout out there. I can't remember the name of it. The throne room, the King's Court, I think, and then the King of the Mountain hallway or something to that. Which I will do a hike out to those spots at least later on. I may hike on out through the Mapleton here sometime.
New text message from +1 855 925 2755.
I'm going to have to cut that out. Recording the road yet.
Well, I'm not getting hurt enough to go all over the place.
But yeah, the road is rougher up through here. And as a teenager, young man, I traveled up through here. Drank a lot of beer up in here in my younger days. Used to be able to, at that time period, go up to the fire tower, which now they have the steps. The bottom row of steps have all deteriorated, and they put a sign up at the end of them and blocked it off. Somewhere in around this turn here is where the actual standing stone trail goes on out through the throne room and all. But we're going to drive on up. Butler Point's a little road walk up here off the main trail, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right there's the trail. trail coming out from the fire tower. And I think I didn't record my footage at the fire tower, so I had to go back and redo that. Up here with the vultures flying around. But the mountain over there is that top, the first top over there, the back side of it's where my cabin's at. I don't know if the camera's actually picking up the roofs of some of the cabins on the way up in. I can see them with my naked eye. The fields down below us here are the Butler fields that we passed coming up in, along with either cell tower or I think it's an upward broadband tower. One of the new internet or fiber companies or satellite companies, whatever they're calling them now, providing the satellite TVs, the new phase of the satellite TVs. And I am going to have to come back up here in the fall just to see what the foliage is like up here. And then anybody familiar with the area, that's the houses and all you can see here at first is coming from Three Springs, Saltella, from Saltella up through the I can't remember the name of the town there, what they call it now. Knightsville is what I'm looking for. It's between Saltella and Knightsville along, and I don't remember right numbers. And then you got the next little valley, and then Sidling Hill is, I hate to say which ridge over, the next mountain over, Sidling Hill, and I ain't exactly sure where you're seeing in through and how far out through there you're seeing, but and then over here on this side you have Hill Valley, and then Monroe Valley, and I think that's Orby. You can see the town down there. If I get stepped out here to where the town of Orbizonia is there in the background, then headed out towards Shade Gap, and then that way I ain't sure what the mountains are, which mountain's which. The first one must be Black Log. And then you got Shade Mountain behind it, and then I think Neelington, and then the next one, and then there's one even further than that you can see back in there sticking up. But you got quite a view up here, just out from the fire tower. And all this ground, well, not all of it, but all the ground out this way, that's here on this top and out through, and even out there at the clear cut, because that's on the state game lands, out because there is a fire road they put in after the game commission bought the Butler farm. The vast majority of this ground was part of the Butler farm at one time. And there are some private ground areas down this way, and then once you go over the mountain top on the other side, some of the private ground runs to the top of the mountain. Some of it's game lands down closer to the roads down that side too. But let me get back off of here and okay, I just got to looking here, and evidently the Standing Stone Trail does go that way, which we're just off of this lookout, but this isn't where they have Butler Knob marked at. And then it does come back and go back towards the fire tower. And there's a tower with a generator shed or something over there. And some of these towers have been up here since I was a kid. Some of them are newer. And right in here close to the fire tower, there is a pine tree that's fell across the trail. But the last set of steps up there, the platform that used to be there, which all of them is pretty much deteriorating. You used to be able to see the street lights change the color in Orby whenever you used to be able to climb up, had access to climb up it. And they do have a sign on there. The structure's off limits. So if you do decide to come up here, if you try to climb it, you're on your own. You're supposed to stay off of it. Or somebody does have some sticks laid in there, like somebody must have tried to climb up it. if I can find it. So I know there's a thing in the ground that gives you your elevation here somewhere. But I don't remember exactly where it was. But they've got several different cell phone antennas up here and scanner antennas and God knows what all. It seems to me there used to be a smaller building in here and somewhere on the ground in front of it to give you an elevation. And I'm not seeing that today. But they've since put in these newer towers since I've been up here in the past. If I'm not mistaken, this holder tower back here, back off of it's where Butler Point's marked. I guess I should give you a view of this one too. And now I'm starting to think my memory's serving me wrong. Because I'm not even seeing a trail right in here. But I was thinking this is where, and maybe that is the Butler Point lookout we was at earlier. But I didn't see the sign for it today. Because I'm not seeing any trail between here and that last tower. And I was thinking in the past I did run onto the trail right here too. Maybe it is all on the road now. Okay, coming back down. I didn't see this coming up through, but the sign marking the trail here where it crosses the road before you get up to the fire tower and all. is back in here off the left-hand side of the road coming up in. And towards Mapleton's the way to the throne room and all, and then back across the road. You got to go diagonal a little bit. With that big birch tree there, has the old orange mark on it, and the trail goes back through the woods from there. Where it's not as easily seen as the other way, but it's there. Then it goes on right around the Butler Point and all, which I didn't see the sign for that today. But I think the lookout was the Butler Point lookout, but I didn't see the sign there along the trail where I was on it today. And then I will stop on down and try to get better footage of the shelter for somebody looking to camp out overnight. And there is a parking area right here at the trailhead, or ain't the trailhead, but here below the fire tower. The fire tower's on up that, and if you needed to, you could pitch a tent up there somewhere, or sleep in your vehicle. Okay, the shelter, and I don't know how to show this, but it's right out through the woods right here by this water break. They've got cut in the road. And then there's another water break right below it, and then if you can see it down there's the parking area. It ain't very far up here. Yeah, and it's back off the road far enough you can't really see it. See if I can zoom in here. Because it ain't much of a shelter, it's just a little shack back there in the woods. And I'm not even really able to pick it out on camera here. And even seeing it with the naked eyes, a little rough, but right back in there off the road here for anybody wanting to stay in it. But if I was gonna come up and stay the night before, like the one guy said, I think I'd just park in the parking area down below there and stay in my vehicle overnight and get up early in the morning and head up over the trail if you want to, or else drive up to the top and then head out to the throne room and all.